All right, so I got a question. Actually, I have received this question in the last how many days? 6, maybe 5 days from 2 people, and I'm sure I'll get it again because it's one I get often. Is am I ready to invest in real estate? Am I ready to invest in real estate? How do I know financially that I am ready to invest in real estate? And I think it's a good question. I think it's a valid question, and I think it's a question that we all need to know the answer to. Okay, so I tell people if you are broke, you do not deserve to invest in real estate. Broke people haven't paid their dues and they're not allowed to invest in real estate, in my opinion. So, what do I mean by that if you're broke? Well, if you're drowning in consumer debt and you can't even make your consumer debt payments because you're living paycheck to paycheck, real estate should not be on your radar right now. The only thing that should be on your radar is how do I get rid of this consumer debt? Or if you don't have enough money to even make the payments of your consumer debt, you need to go to, all right, let me create a budget real quick and cut, because this will take 10 minutes, cut all the junk expenses that I have. And then step two for you would be, how do I increase my income so that I can have extra money to go and pay off this debt? Listen, so many people don't want to sacrifice now. They don't. They want somebody to give them a handout or take care of them. Listen, if you want a good life, you're going to have to pay now if you want to play later. If you play now and you neglect all the bad decisions you made financially and let that consumer debt build over time, you're going to be paying for the rest of your life. Look, not to toot my own horn, I'm just trying to teach you guys from what I've done in my life. My entire working career, from the day I started working at Centos, maybe not the day, but call it a month after, I have always had a second source of income every single job along the way. As Centos, my second source of income is I would go and I would deliver fruit for this fruit company who would drive in a refrigerated truck into Charleston on whatever day it was, Tuesdays, and I'd just go deliver it out. I'd put my dog in the car and I'd drive for 8 hours. And I made extra, I don't know, 60 to $100 a week. Right. And then my next job, when I was in pharmaceutical sales, I had a pressure washing company. And then I also sold hospital software on the side. And then in my next job, I started buying real estate, and that was my side gig, and flipping houses and doing what was originally the Finance Cowboy brand, now Jaron Sustar and the Jaron Sustar Show. And so my entire life, I've always done extra that's allowed me to get ahead financially. I mean, it's a very basic principle. I'm sure there's a physics law. I don't know what you put in, you're going to get out. Right. And so if you're not putting in the extra work, if you're not going the extra mile, you're not working the extra job, not generating extra income, then you're going to have a very, very hard time accomplishing a lot in life, because your income is the fuel that is going to dictate how fast you reach financial income or financial independence. The amount of income you have coming in is going to dictate how fast you can achieve the financial status that you are looking to achieve. And so when people say, hey man, I'm broke, I really want to get in this game, can you help me? Because they'll hear me talk about, sometimes it's misleading, and I apologize if this comes across as misleading. I want to clear something up. When I say you can buy real estate using other people's money, this doesn't mean that you can be broke and then go use other people's money and buy real estate. Listen, when we're using somebody else's money to buy real estate, we want to be very, very careful, and we didn't know how to manage money, because that's not even our money. And so if you're over here saying, dude, I'm drowning in debt, I can't make my payments, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, you're never going to hear me tell you, okay, yeah, you can't manage your own money, but why don't you go borrow $150,000 from your uncle or your cousin or your friend or your dad or whoever, a investor or a company, because I feel comfortable you'll be able to manage that. You can't even take care of your own house. You are doing a disservice to the person that you partner with if you can't take care of your own crap and then you go buy their money, or you go borrow their money. Because what happens when we borrow other people's money is it doesn't feel quite as tangible. Why? Because there wasn't pain behind earning it. Right? It's almost like monopoly money. It feels free, especially if you're an undisciplined person with your capital. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up getting yourself into a deeper hole of debt, and you're going to screw some people over, and you're going to absolutely kill relationships. And then ultimately what you'll do is you'll destroy your reputation. And guess what happens once your reputation's gone? Done. You're done. You're done in the business world. You're done in the investment world. You're going to move town. You ever see those people who leave, one part of the country and move to the other where they don't know anybody? Most of the time, It's because they've made so many bad decisions, they've absolutely obliterated their reputation. And God has given us a few things that are very holy in this life, and I think one of them is your name and what people think about you. When they hear your name, automatically they can think you're mean, or they can think you're kind of cocky, or you're meek, or you're mild, but they better think at all those things. That Jaron guy, he's trustworthy. He does what he says. If I give him this, he tells me he's going to give this back. I can guarantee that no matter what, come hell or high water, it's going to happen. And so we have to make sure that we are protecting our name and we're doing the right things at all time. And also for a moral reason. I mean, just don't do bad things. Be a good person. Outside of not being able to do business later, let's just talk about your soul in eternity, right? Because we're only on this earth for a very short amount of time. What's going to happen to your soul when we leave this earth? Because we're only here for just a blink of an eye. So what makes you ready to invest in real estate? I say, in my opinion, it is in today's market, you almost, and I don't want to make this a blanket statement because there's some people who make a less income than this and they do pretty good. But I would say you need to be close to making 6 figures or more in income. You need to have really good income. And then we want to have a very, very, very small amount. I would encourage you and love for you to have no consumer debt. But if you have a little bit and you have a high income, like if somebody's making 150, 250 plus, and they have a small credit card payment, or they had that they've been knocking out, it's just not quite done yet, but they got like $5,000 left, or they got a car payment that's 10,000, and you got 15K a month coming in, and your payment on that is 500, and you're working to pay it off. I can't tell you not to buy real estate because you're in a pretty strong financial position then. But the key is to be in a strong financial position. So limited consumer debt. You're going to want an emergency fund in place of 3 to 6 months, right? Just sitting there. And then any additional income that we have, we're going to put towards real estate. So if you have that extra money, right, you've got limited debt, you've got income coming in, then I think it's time to go buy real estate. That's why I think it's so important to continue working when you start real estate. One of the things that really bothers me and scares me that people are preaching this message is like, quit your job and go on. You need to become an entrepreneur if you're going to, live the life of your dreams, if you're going to blah, blah, blah. Listen, the majority of people preaching that are working 60 plus hours a week and they're absolutely miserable. I'm serious. Like, I'm not just saying that. They are working 60 plus hours a week and they're absolutely miserable because what they're doing is just to make money. They're not passionate about it, just so that they can show a lifestyle that they don't even care about. And so what I tell folks is stay at your job. If you hate your job, guess what? Here is a novel idea. Go get a different one. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's rocket science. No, just go get a freaking different job. Come on. What are we talking about? If you hate your job, go get a different job. Just because you hate your job doesn't mean you need to start your own company. When you've never even tried a side gig, you should try before you go starting a company. You should be doing it on the side before you ever dive into it. Number one, you don't even know if you're going to like it. Number two, the average small business makes it at tops 5 years. I think it's like 70% of them shut down after 2 years, another percentage after 3, and then they're all gone after 5. So statistically, you don't have a really good chance. And you don't even know if what you're doing you're going to like. And then let's talk from a real estate perspective. If you work a full-time job, you now can leverage that for loans. When you're starting out in this space, being able to show that you have this consistent income, you've had this consistent job when you're going to get loans for a bank, just makes it that much easier. Now, if you're listening to this, you're like, I don't have that. I don't have the consistent job. I'm in my own company. I've only been around a year and a half. You can get funding for real estate too. We just need to make sure that we're in a strong position. And I just really try to encourage people, don't quit your job. Leverage that. Okay. Leverage that job. Then we come down to, well, I don't have enough time then. If I'm working, how can I do real estate? I would argue with you that you can't afford not to have enough time. You do have enough time. You have to make the time. Listen, I had the entire time that I've bought real estate, that I've built my personal brand, done all this stuff, raised a family of 4 kids, played the drums at church on Sundays. My dad's a pastor. We've ran ministries at the church, coached my kids' sports teams, traveled, done all these things to build fence at my house, have projects going on at my personal home, hang out with friends, hang out with family. I've been working a full-time job during all of this while also building wealth through real estate. And so I don't feel any sympathy for anybody who says I'm too busy. The only way I would feel a little bit of sympathy is if somebody is going through a major health crisis, or you're a caretaker for someone who's going through a major health crisis and you don't have any family or anybody else around you to help. You want to say that? Then I'll listen to you. The rest of you guys who are just acting like you don't have the time, you have the time. We all have the same amount of time. And buying a couple rental properties or doing 2 to 4 flips a year, it does not take near the amount of time that you think it does. And it takes a limited amount of time that I know you can fit it into your existing schedule, because I've been living that existing schedule for the last 11 years.